Well, as of right now, as you see my throat, it wouldn't be a good idea.
You don't have to tell your mom.
My wife will find out.
Then forget it. Anyway,
Yeah.
but I wanted to ask the question about. So we talked earlier. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair for coming.
Wait.
I have to second Yama. Like I told you earlier. So this brother is from Masjid Al Farouk in Atlanta, which is where I took Shahada. But we didn't know each other. But what's very important to me as a Hindu revert to Islam, as someone who's been Muslim for almost 11 years, is that in my entire 11 years as Muslim, in the United States, there's very few masajid where I feel truly welcome, right? And my favorite masjid in America, which I told you earlier, was the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam, which is a masjid that started out way back in the days, a Nation of Islam temple, and in the 1970s went over with Imam Abdullah Jaber, rahimullah. And the reason I like that masjid, I'm just bringing this up as a point of comparison, is the reason I like that masjid is nobody has ever asked me where I'm from, right? As a Hindu revert to Islam who was born in Illinois, where are you from? Where are you from? Why do you have tattoos? Nobody cares. They're just happy that anybody is going to the masjid.
Exactly.
Nobody asks. And the reason I'm bringing that up is, how do we create masajid, or how do we create the future of the ISSB here as a place where people feel welcome, and the question is not, oh, I'm Shia, can I go to this masjid? I'm blank, can I go to this masjid? How do you create a space? Does it come with leadership, or does it come with the people who go to the masjid?
So I'll add in about Masjid al-Islam. You have to go to Masjid al-Islam to understand what Masjid al-Islam is. When they finish Salah, Imam Nadim will stand up, and he's a Tai Chi master. And he'll actually teach Tai Chi in the masjid. So he stands up, and the next thing you know, he's like, Allahu Akbar. When I was in South Africa, there was a fighting style. So I was big into martial arts, and I had a chance to, witness the Silat. It's a martial arts style. And they say it actually roots back to Ali radiallahu ta'ala. What's amazing is if you see Silat, they take religious, ritualistic moves, and turn it into martial arts. For example, easiest to understand is this, and tell me what this is. What ritual this is from? Wudu. Right? So they teach you all this. And they say it actually roots back to Ali Radha, who's pretty amazing. Ali Radha had a fighting style. Allah knows best of that, the chain of that hadith, but but they said that's where it relates back. It's the masjid is supposed to be a non-judgmental zone. You see, nobody puts their clean clothes in their laundry, do you? You put dirty clothes in the laundry. And by definition of Muhammad, by who? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kullu bani Adam khata. Every single human being makes mistakes, meaning sins. Right? The best of those who make mistakes are those who make tawbah. Where's the best place to make tawbah? One of the physical acts of making tawbah is you come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is the masjid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. So my thing is, I think it's a multifaceted problem. Sometimes it comes from the leadership of the imams, where because and you have to look back. It's a multifaceted problem because may Allah reward all of our scholars. All of our scholars. The one who doesn't know how to thank people doesn't know how to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to give people their due right. But one problem that we have seen is open discussion. Right? We have seen this complete, it's forbidden. You cannot ask questions, talk openly. So sometimes it comes from the scholars themselves, where, because they're not in touch with society, right? They'll make comments. They'll say things, right? You might see it's a overtone of tribalism, of some sort of nationalistic overtone. That happened. Sometimes it comes from the community. But I would say it goes back to the imams, the leaders. And the reason I say this is because not only by the grace of Allah, but it's a responsibility to be in these shoes. Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala, he once came into Medina and he saw a wig. He picked it up, he went straight to the minbar, called the people of Medina, and he said, "Where are your scholars?" because one of the rulings of wig is to wear it is not permissible. But the fact that it's on the ground, he's not asking the people. If there is disobedience going on the land, where are the scholars? Because at the end of the day, if you're a scholar within your community, you are mas'ul an. You will be questioned. So my thing is, it's because one of the reasons is that you have what they call FBI, foreign-born imams. But don't misunderstand me. We owe them whatever. A lot of the deen that we have today is because of their sacrifices. Because they left their homes. They had parents and families too, but they left. They came a lot of times being underpaid, right? Being abused in their salaries. But it's because of them that we learn how to read Quran. It's because of them that we know what Salah is. We enjoyed Taraweeh when we were young in America, right? So we have to give them that. But there was no transition. And if you don't transition, al-ma' al-jari, the flowing water is that water that cannot become najis, cannot become impure. Because once something is moving, it perpetuates and it cannot stagnate. When something becomes something stagnates, then it has the possibility of becoming najis. And what I mean by najis here is that we don't know how to look at reality. And then I think it's a misunderstanding of the deen by whoever. But I personally, I don't know if you guys are not. It's multifaceted. I would say it goes back to religious authorities. Like I was sharing with you the other day, but last month, at the beginning of January, one of my beloved brothers, he is African American, and he went and he gave a talk at a masjid. After he finished, a father comes to his son and says, "What is this black man going to teach us about our religion?" So I was in tears when I heard this because I loved that brother, who he made that comment against. And I said, if only he knew that brother. That boy lost his father in a gang shootout when he was young. And he could have lost his life if that person had come inside the house. Grew up as a young person, used to walk to school, pre-K, walk, because his mother couldn't do it. Grew up in the projects. Sacrificed a lot, right? And today becomes Muslim, travels overseas, learns the deen, his beautiful qira'ah, he knows this, he became hafiz al-Quran, he's an alim, a scholar, and you have the audacity to look at his skin? If only you saw his heart, because that's what Allah sees. Skin color is just arbitrary. It's arbitrary, it's not real. It's just a lack of pigmentation and overdose of pigmentation, that's all it is. Right? Because at the end of the day, we bleed the same. We cry the same tears. Right? And إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَىٰ أَجْسَامِكُمْ وَلَا إِلَىٰ صُوَرِكُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَنْظُرُ إِلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ. Allah doesn't look at your physical beauty and ability and your intellect. Allah looks at your heart. So, my question, well, that boy, he said, my father made the statement. So I didn't say, astaghfirullah, your father. No. Why is it that it is strange for our communities to see an African American imam? Because we have bans and walls within us. It's not the new administration that's putting up bans. It's not the new administration that's putting up walls. We have walls within our hearts against Muslims. We have immigration problems within our hearts against Muslims from other countries. What are you talking about? Whatever happens in the world is a reflection of the state of the believers. That's what it is. Whatever happens, it's a reflection of the state of the heart of the believers. When the heart of the believers is corrupt and they have walls and bans against other Muslims, then Allah will give you walls and bans against you. That's what it is. That's reality. Your heart is that powerful. Right? So we have a lot of issues. I think it's multifaceted, but I think it starts off with our scholars. They have to open up and start talking. So in the contact with the Imam of the Masjid, I said, you need to start talking about social injustice based on color, because that's a problem we have. More than the ban of the executive order, I'm worried about this, because we won't be asked about that, but we will be asked about this, right? So it's a multifaceted problem.
It's a beautiful thing. A lot of good things. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. Thanks for coming all the way to share your thoughts. the millennium issue is a serious issue. It is a serious issue, and it is a disconnect. And like in my professional work, I'm an engineer. When I design something, it's supposed to be reviewed by someone else who never worked on this project, that never worked on it. Will be given. He needs to look from scratch.
Yes.
That all my assumptions, all these things, to avoid a pitfall, the overlooked.
Yes.
So they need to look at their own idea and see that, of course, there's some guidelines.
Yes.
I can see for our kids and what they're thinking, what they see the fault in our society, and how we left behind, and what's the course of problem. You know? So, they really, you defined it very nicely, that Imam Shafi mentioned two things: deen and our living that we have to live through. Think about and then how it originated. These are the things we talk.
Yes.
That why colonization caused people to withdraw
Yes.
or to protect the belief system,
Yes.
but relieving other side and never been taught. If you see why the West are so vibrant, they're so rich in their culture and everything and wealth, their religion was part of that to carry the knowledge. Even they go any place far
Yes.
away, they go and spread that knowledge so that they become wealthy. You see that in different
Yes.
world. Our failure, if we are not wake up yet, as you were mentioning over and over, that we don't understand that we are trying to hang on to something, an ice. The ice is melting,
Yes.
and it's melting so at temporary heat, the thermal going crazy.
Mm.
The volume of ice is shrinking.
Yes.
Our really
Rain.
So we're trying to hold on to a deen, but the source of or what we are trying to hold on to is shrinking so fast, we are doing it. And then of course we have the heat from other sides.
Yes.
So it will not change only by ulama
No.
and the scholars. We can also you said very right thing that we cannot blame them.
No.
Because they're trying to look at their constituents.
Yes.
The people who support them, I support you, so that the relationship stays.
Yeah, the victims.
Right? But this is not going to change it. We, most of the Muslims that come here are immigrants. Our husband and wife were not exposed to the challenges equally
Yes.
on both sides. Children are not focusing on what they should be focusing on. And we are husbands who they're doing with their life, so busy with their stuff, they cannot focus what's going on at home.
Yes.
But think about it. If a Chinese person gets into trouble, other Chinese community, they help them. When any other community gets in trouble, they hold them. But we have no fallback position.
Yes.
So it could be changed. It could change in 10 years.
Yes.
If we focus today that this is the stand we take, we put our resource and we cooperate with each other.
Yes.
That's the Imam could do in the masjid.
Yes.
One thing I shared that with Brother Jamal, that Islamic Society president, that if we have masjid, We need to have entrepreneurship training because he's a very good
Yes.
entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship training. It doesn't mean that he has to build another satellite. Even how to catering business.
Yes.
Look at Nigeria. Some brother was saying that we have almost 95, 98% Muslim now, not even 50%.
Mhm.
The extreme poverty taking away the deen.
Yes.
That's the reality of life.
Yes.
But we are blaming that we are other people coming and letting other. They will come, but we didn't do our part.
Yes.
So, what is the good of place of worship if we cannot build our community?
Mhm.
And we're it's a bright spot. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the best of the deen.
Mhm.
Look at how immeasurably we failed. That if you want to have a business where you need $500,000 or $2 million, and you have a brilliant idea, there's no way you can start it.
Yes.
There's no financial system, the creative halal financial system, crowdfunding or whatever you call it. We failed for several hundred years.
Yes.
We missed the Industrial Revolution.
Mhm.
Right? So how could you expect the Muslim Ummah to do well with the innovations and progress? They don't have the finance to
Yes.
start something. So I think the solution would be multifaceted.
The solution is multifaceted.
Multifaceted. It is not one solution.
It's not one.
And what happens, we're trying to hold on to the ice. The ice is melting.
Yes.
So I don't know whether I'll be able to, my children will be able to hold on to the ice because it's melting so fast. This is not a joke. We're drowning our deen to the level that it almost like non-existence. I'm not surprised people are attacking us because we are not preparing.
Yes.
We find joys watching worthless TV shows and some movies for hours.
Yes.
What makes us do that when our back is on fire?
Yes.
Our deen is in trouble. This is I see.
Yes.
If my kids are not well educated, and if they stand for average job, that 20 kids can compete from different religion, different groups. What's the likelihood my kids are going to get the job?
Yes.
Unless you're exceptional. So, giving back to Alhamdulillah, I think you covered all these areas. I wish we could give another 6-7 hours, but this is the challenge.
It is. It's a multifaceted problem, and it really goes back to Sahaba. You have to play your part. One of the problems that I see today is I got to do it all. I got to be the man everywhere. No, you don't. Like if today, let's say we're having Jum'ah here, Imam Hafidullah, he stands up and he says, I would like to invite for this so-and-so project, Brother Abdullah's son, Khalid. Oh, Imam, who do you say? I heard what you said. You said my son? I know my son is the biggest worthless, whatever. He's not fit for the job. But I take pride. Oh, my son? Imam, could you repeat? Was that my son? I want people to hear. That wasn't the Sahaba. This is another problem. Play a role that you fit. Don't pretend to play roles. This is the biggest problem of organizations. Other day I asked somebody, he's the president of an organization in our locality. There's a synonymous organization. So I asked him, I said, what's the difference between your organization and that organization? And he said, I said, okay, I'll talk to you later. So you don't even know, because you guys are doing the same thing. You guys do the same exact, you're drawing money from the same crowd. You're doing the same exact things. Did you ever think about, let me lose my title and join and do work? The Prophet, and sometimes people say Imam and Mufti and Sheikh. The Sahaba didn't have these titles. These are arbitrary titles. When Abdullah ibn Umar, he related a hadith from his father, he said, Qala Umar ibn al-Khattab. He didn't say, أبي الشيخ المحقق المجدد No. قال عمر بن الخطاب أقلهم تكلفا. They were the least in their formalities. Today, and what's amazing is the Prophet ﷺ, imagine if the Prophet ﷺ was to choose you. So, okay, Khalid, I want you to do this. Wouldn't you jump with for joy? But if the Sahaba did not fit the role, they told the Prophet, we don't fit that role. Meaning they knew it's not about me. It's about the deen. So if I'm the president of the organization of a masjid, or I'm the president of whatever, and I know I'm the biggest out there, I shouldn't play that role. Because you're not doing a disservice to people, you're doing a disservice to the deen. That's a very big problem. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala, the Prophet, he says, why don't you, this is in Treaty of Hudaybiyah, the Prophet, he said, why don't you go into Mecca and, fix what's happening? Because they weren't allowed to go into Mecca, and the Prophet needed to send somebody inside to talk. The Prophet says, Umar, why don't you go in? Umar then clearly tells him, I'm not the right person. I appreciate it, but I'm not the right person. But my brother Uthman is the right person. Today, it will kill a person to do that. To let go of a position and say, no, you know what? I'm not the right person for this. My brother Khalid, he's a master at this. The day we are able to do that, wallahi, there will be khair. But today we're still fighting for arbitrary titles. In front of Allah, it doesn't matter all these titles. It's foolish. Other than, the hadith in Mishkat, where the Prophet, he said, sometimes the most beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a person who nobody knows. Maybe somewhere in the village, with his little family, with his cow and sheep. He's just a shepherd, little shepherd, works in the little village, but he has ikhlas and love of Allah. And that person is the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the face of the earth. Right? Just do your job. Do a job that you, and I know that I can do. And, there's a lot of issues, multifaceted, but the problem is we want to play all the roles, and that's a problem. These are sicknesses that we have. So may Allah make it easy.
All the audience, they get together and have one leader, so that things can get all normal.
That is the hardest thing to do in the world.
Because 2 days ago, Pope, he requested all the Christians to pray for the people in Myanmar.
Yes.
He prayed, None of the Muslims country, any, I would say, bugger, whatever it is, didn't have anything to open their mouth and to say something. And in Indonesia and other places, they were standing over there where the ships were coming, boats were coming, and they were saying, no, don't come here.
Yes.
And they are Muslims.
Yes. To get the ulama on the same page, all the ulama, now that's a challenge. The only thing the ulama can agree is to disagree. So far, we've made it that far. We all agree not to agree. Beyond that, there's very few things that we agree on.
My point is,
But it's a conversation that needs to start. So for example, right now, I've been in Atlanta since March, so I'm sorry to cut you brothers off. So it's been about 11 months. Next month it will be, and I was sharing, I forgot with who. There was a janazah, there was a funeral prayer, and there was these two elderly scholars. They're both in their late 60s and 70s. And one has been in Atlanta for 12 years. And they're about 25 minutes away from one another. 25 minutes drive. And it's been 12 years. This is the first time they met. And they wield influence over their communities. One is, more of a pro-Salafi manhaj, Salafi methodology. And one is a more traditional Hanafi methodology. And it's like this, missiles at one another. And they never met. Wallahi, when you love somebody, you can have the biggest differences and it won't matter. You'll learn. The problem is we don't learn. So I was looking at them conversating and I was like, why don't our scholars just get to know one another? Just talk. It doesn't matter. Just learn how to talk to one another. Right? So one brother said, we did this. We tried to get all the scholars together to talk. I said, what did you do? He said, we invited all of them. This is our people trying to get people together. I mean, where is the common sense? Like my teacher used to say, it's common sense has become uncommon. That's the age we live in today. So they're getting scholars, by the way. The scholars, they love to differ on things, okay? That's one thing they like to do. They got them on a roundtable conference to discuss the most debated issue. Moon sighting. That's it, man. You had your finger on the pulse. That's it. Moon sighting. You know about Atlanta. It gets heated. Yeah. Moon sighting. And they have their books. وقال ابن حجر الحيثمي رضي الله. What are you, crazy? Wallahi, these are differences that are going to stay. But I bet you if they had a brotherly relationship, they could disagree and still hug and love one another. Like, you look at Shafi'i rahimahullah, you look at all the scholars, they were mountains, but they know how to respect. They have love. So my focus in Atlanta has turned to what you're saying. So visiting all the scholars one by one, getting a lunch date with them whenever I can. And now we're trying to basically build a coalition of imams where we have unison of understanding of hadaf and goals. At the end of the day, if you're involved with the organization, you're going to work on the organization. And I'll do my level best to help you in any way I can. Whether it's telling people what you're doing, informing people. But this is the focus. If we can do this, hopefully there will be khair of common understanding. We'll still have our Eids, maybe different days, but at least there will be love and tolerance. And I think that's one of the topics tomorrow, of the character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
A quick question, if you don't
Bismillah.
mind. I know. How can we, for instance, today is a new disease that comes to Hamid first and to our community, that we have so-called our own sheikh. If we have different brothers to come, but if that's not my sheikh, I don't attend. How can we get communities together to, like you say, respect the ulamas and have that respect, even if you have or a different, another ikhtilaf.
Yes.
But how can we get those brothers to understand that this masjid is for everyone? Share what you have, because any community who succeed are those who give responsibility to brothers. For instance, we had a lock issue. Brother Abdul came and fixed it. So we have in our community people who some can clean, some can do whatever, transportation and everything else. So how can we make the mind of the brothers that participate in every gathering instead of certain gatherings?
SubhanAllah, when I was in Granada Hills one day, a brother, he bought a phone. He showed me a text message. He said, look at this. So he's talking to somebody who sends him a screen pic, a screen, capture the screen and send. And it says, how dare you say that about my sheikh? You know what? Your sheikh doesn't like my sheikh. So I don't like your sheikh. And the other brother goes, oh, you don't like my sheikh? I don't like your sheikh, and I don't like you. That's what you call sheikh worship. My teacher used to say, a lot of us, we have idols. The Hindus also have idols. There's nothing wrong with having to confide in a scholar. You should, for suluk and stuff, you should confide in a scholar. You should have one scholar. Because if you start going to different scholars, they're going to give you different opinions. That's also going to mess up your deen. You confide on a person that you trust, has knowledge and stuff, and that's good. But I think, again, it goes back to us addressing these issues openly. So in the Jummah, talk about tolerance. If you understand the tolerance, so alhamdulillah, another thing that we've done is we've put all the MSAs in connection. So we're having speakers rotate. Emory, Tech, Kennesaw State, all of them. And even Spelman, and we got the African American colleges involved also, alhamdulillah. So we have a speaker rotation. So one of the came and asked that. The Students for Israel is a actual club, within the fraternity, within a university, Students for Israel. So obviously, as a reaction to that, we have students for
Oh,
Palestine. Yes, alhamdulillah, of course. Reactive. I said it's reactive. It's not proactive. Okay. So the MSA came and asked me. He said, the students of Israel, students for Israel, they want to do a sit down and talk with us. I said, okay. What should we do? And I said, the Prophet ﷺ never denied anybody common human courtesy. Never. Never denied anybody common human courtesy. Even his worst enemies. Worst enemies. When they came in the court, Umar he said, just let me finish this guy. And Umar said, no, just let him. Let's listen to what he has to say. Who will entertain the murder of his daughter? Who will entertain the murder of his companions? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, let him speak. What does he have to say? Oh, you apologize? May Allah forgive you. Allah Akbar. Character. So I think it has to be addressed openly. The brothers, we need to talk about tolerance. Talk about the tolerance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Talk about the tolerance of Sahaba. I think we need to talk about it, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Yes.
Allahu Akbar.
Yes, sister, you have a question.
I really like what you said about everyone doing their part.
Yes.
So a big population of the youth here in Santa Barbara are students, and here in the universities they're basically studying secular studies. So I'm
Yes.
in biology, for example. So I think that a big way of retaining members in the masjid is making people feel like they belong, that they can contribute something. So what are ways where we can make the masjid not only a place of prayer, but also a place where we can bring in those secular studies so that we can encourage the youth to give something back to the masjid and feel part of it?
So my motto is mind, body, and soul. Meaning within every community, you're going to get kids that are physically captivated, you're going to get kids that are intellectually captivated, and you're going to get kids that are spiritually captivated. They share, but some will fall into these categories more compared to others. So what we did in our local masjid, alhamdulillah, with the help of Allah, is we have identified people in our community that have these skills. Okay, so we have this sister, she is an ex-Marine, and she knows how to throw down any brother in the masjid. Okay, so she's an ex-Marine. So we said, okay, we made discussion with the sisters. We said, would you guys like to have self-defense classes? Mind, body, and soul, self-defense classes. They said, of course. We said, okay, we're starting self-defense class in the masjid. Okay, we have a basketball gym, so they're going to do it there. So basically, identify people that have strengths, and then give them the ability to serve. So then one thing, we started our Muslim basketball league in Atlanta. We have over 300 students signed up, elementary, middle, and high school. So it's really taking off right now. Actual jerseys, actual rosters, everything, alhamdulillah, is moving forward. So this is to give the youth opportunity to engage in physical activities. If you can get kids in physical activities, you can really shape them, right? So we have to look at high tides of what to do. So then after that, what I saw is that a lot of our kids, they were like, oh, but I don't want to play. Like one father, sometimes you might try to do the best thing, but the parents still get it wrong. Immigrant parents. Let me give you an example. We started the basketball team, right? A father brings 3 of his sons, and he's like, my kids want to play basketball. And I'm looking at them like, you guys want to play basketball? They're like, no, we don't want to play. And then he's like, hey, you're going to play, okay? And I'm like, brother, no, this is not what we're here for. And one of his sons started crying. I was like, please don't cry. You don't have to play basketball. I spoke to him. I said, what do you want to play? He said, I want to play chess. I said, okay, that's what captivates you. Chess. So he's intellectually captivated. So I said, okay, for Hanafis to touch chess is a very big thing. You can't go there that fast. You got to watch out. Because chess is, makruh tahrimi. Some say it's haram. So I said, okay, slow your train. We gotta think about this before I say this. So I said, okay, what about a book club? And I said, would you guys like that? And all 3 of them said yes. And it was elementary, middle, and high school. I said, would you guys like a book club? And they said yes. So we looked around. We had these college students, alhamdulillah, who were very, like pro, they're very involved in MSA. I said, hey, can you do a book club with these kids? And he said, I would love to. So you have a book club now. So basically what I would say is try to figure out strong points in your community, right? Have a Quran class for sisters. Have a sister come in who knows her Quran. Let her, I know your daughters can do that. Let them do something like that. Identify and cater to people. And to focus on the out crowd, which I call them in crowd and out crowd. In crowd is anybody who's come to the masjid already without your effort. Out crowd, you need social activism. Social activism without the imprint of Islam. You don't need to just do social activism, whether it's cleaning a park or feeding the poor or going to the local shelter. Take the kids. Take them. And the only thing you have to do, take the sister who doesn't wear hijab. Put her first in the line. Make her feel the most special. Take the brother who's tatted all over, is listening to, like we had this youth all-night qiyam. It was so beautiful. I remember that we had all-night qiyam. Everybody was spiritual, crying and stuff. And then we went to IHOP, and brother goes, I'll have the turkey bacon. And people are looking at him like, for suhoor, you're going to have turkey bacon? You're going to eat haram and fast on haram food? It's okay. Because that's his struggle right now. That's his struggle. You have to understand what his struggle is. Your struggle is either here or here. My brother hasn't made it that far. He's on the brink of kufr. You push him, he'll leave. Understand. The Prophet understood. He was a master at understanding people's personalities. So you have to sift out in the community as to what's needed. That's what I would say. Find strong points without me turning this into a longer conversation.
No, mashallah.
Find strong points and invest in them.